We're going to move on anyway to our next section, and it's music news. Because we're entertainment news now. We can talk about what we want as long as it's entertainment. That's
and I do love speaking about this man here.
Yeah, we're talking about Dave Grohl.
I was just watching Nirvana's MTV Unplugged.
Yeah, again?
Last night I watched it.
You like that, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I love Stephen Kurt Cobain. Man's guitar he used, and I was intrigued by that guitar. What a guitar it is. 1959 Martin, incidentally.
Left-handed.
Left-handed. That guitar sold for $6 million to the owner of Rode Microphones.
Yeah.
He bought that guitar.
Why not?
Someone bought the cardigan for fucking $200,000 or something like that.
That was a nice cardigan.
It was a nice cardigan, but not $200,000 fucking dollars. But it's just
if you've got it, John, you would do that though, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
if you had that kind of money. Something
about cut. Look at my fucking. I look like the guy from There's Something About Mary now. I've been scratching my neck that much. Look at that. 28 days later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Better watch. We're going to talk about Dave Grohl anyway, John. I know you've seen him live with obviously the Foo Fighters, but this is all about a new Dave Grohl comic book. This is coming in from NME, and it's the latest in the Orbit collection, which has already published books on
John Lennon,
on Ozzy Osbourne, John Lennon, and
Ozzy Osbourne.
Now,
Ozzy's got Parkinson's. Do you know that?
Yeah.
And he blames it on a demonic doll that he insulted.
Okay.
I think the doll's called Bobby or something. He bought a sort of merchandise version, like a fucking, what would you call it? A replica.
A replica, yeah.
And he threw it across the room, and he blames that bad luck on him getting Parkinson's. It's not the fact that he was biting fucking bats' heads off and taking copious amounts of drugs for like 50 years of his life. It was a demonic doll. That doll's fucking creepy though. Don't look it up.
A synopsis for Grohl's book says that the world of rock and roll shook with the arrival of David Grohl, from his time on drums with Nirvana to the creation of the Foo Fighters. Grohl has captivated fans across the planet. This comic gives a glimpse of all that is Grohl. It will transport you to him playing with Iggy Pop, his record appearances on Saturday Night Live.
In at least one of those pages, I will be most displeased.
His face-off on drums with the Muppets, Animal, and so much more. Grohl continues to jam. Grohl continues to inspire. Grohl is rock. Writer Adam Rose added, diving into the genius of Dave Grohl can only be described with one word: awe. His life and body of work are an incredible story to explore.
Really
is there any
screenshots,
John? Yeah,
I think that's
because it's not coming up mine because I'm using my iPad.
Also, you've got the Foos there, the late great Taylor Hawkins.
That's some artwork. That is Nate really Mendel, nice. I like that.
Pat Smear.
John, I watched Dave Grohl again. I'd seen him on Hot Ones. This was obviously before Taylor passed away. I think it was maybe about a week or two, and he was phenomenal on it. Yeah, it's one of the times I've seen Sean Evans, the presenter, let his guard down and get drunk. It was just great. But I think that's the kind of guy he is. He can do that to you, man. He can relax you, just be in his company.
If you were to offer me the choice of getting out on a night out with anybody on this planet, it'd be that man. I would go out on a night out with that guy. It would be the fucking greatest night of your life. He'd be steaming drunk, it'd just be brilliant. He
said on the show that tomorrow he's going to Narnia, and Sean's like, Narnia? Yeah. What do you mean? Narnia your business? Just the way he told it, it's fantastic.
He's fucking great,
John,
man.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about, do you think this will work, this medium, for something like this subject? Because in the past, and particularly maybe so more with animation, I don't think it's worked with like rock bands, pop bands, where they've transferred over to a different medium. Is there something about obviously music and the art and having that sort of soul and energy that cannot be replicated in book form or anything like that? The personalities. Do you think this is something that will work?
I don't know. I'd have to go and look at the other books, to be honest with you, to see if they've captured the likes of Ozzy, John Lennon. But he's had such a rich career, Stephen. 30 odd years now.
Yeah.
Late 80s, mid 80s. I think he was with Scream, was it? I think he took Nate Mendel from Scream. Was he with Scream?
I didn't know that.
Punk rock band from Washington. He was in the sort of punk scene anyway. And then obviously he's transitioned to being the drummer for Nirvana, into the Foos, the loss of Kurt Cobain, how that impacted his life, took a hiatus. And then from this indie band right up to like fucking selling stadiums, global phenomenon that is the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
And just his life, man, the character he is, it's definitely one of the richer lives to maybe chart in comic book form. Stephen, he always strikes me as like the last of that kind of era, sort of Lemmys, guys like that, the rock stars, who just live life on the fucking edge, man. Drugged out their nut, hitting the alcohol. I don't think he was ever a mad druggie.
Yeah.
But he just strikes me as one of the last really
Yeah,
out there rock
carrying it himself, isn't he? Like
Yeah.
carrying the sort of that time.
Also, he's a
period.
father now. He's got 2 daughters, I believe.
Yeah.
So he's not so much out there anymore. But his life's very rich, man. And there's a story to be told there. And if it's in comic book, sort of graphic novel form, I'm all for it.
It's funny, John, because obviously Foo Fighters has surpassed Nirvana. Maybe not obviously as big as Nirvana, but there is times when I watch Dave Grohl in the Foo Fighters and I actually forget that he was in Nirvana. And maybe that's a good thing in a way. Certainly for him, I think it's a good thing that people can separate those identities that he had in being the drummer in probably the biggest band at the time in the world. Not arguably, they were the biggest band, and that was a period when U2 and R.E.M. were out as well. Massive R.E.M. fan, but I do think that period between probably peak time 92 to 94 for Nirvana was probably no one can touch them. And you forget that phenomenon, because it was such a long time ago. You're talking over 30 years now. It's been 28 years since Kurt Cobain passed away, and sometimes you've got to remind yourself this guy had a career and was projected into rock stardom at a young age as well. He must have been only mid-20s at the time.
Yeah, I think he was early 20s, because he's like 50 something now, 53 just now, something like that. So you think back, it's like 30 years ago.
And you're thinking, boy, you're going to carry that weight a long time, being in that band, But
21, 22.
He picked himself up, dusted himself down, and created the Foo Fighters, John. I think he was a bit of a UFO nut. I think that's where the name came from.
Yeah, the Foo Fighters fighting the Foo.
Yeah.
I think he says he regrets picking that name.
Well, I don't know
It's
why.
a bit corny.
I don't think so. I think it's a great name.
But it perfectly sums them up, Steve, because they don't take themselves that seriously as a band. Obviously, they do take themselves seriously. There's a brilliant 1999 sort of acoustic session. I think it was in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And he's interviewed just before he does an acoustic version of blank on the name. Why am I blank on the name? Everlong. And he says that we do take this very seriously. When we get down to recording, it's the most fucking serious thing in his life.
It's only when he hangs out with Jack Black.
But he's a larger than life sort of funny guy. And obviously all the band, there's Taylor Hawkins when he was here, there were all these huge personalities and quite corny. That's how all the videos are so iconic and memorable.
The likes of Big Me, John, which was a very corny song,
Yeah,
a
the
very
Mentos.
corny video as well. Yeah, the Mentos, Futos, or what they're called.
Yeah.
It was such a cheesy
He regretted
video.
that as well because he was getting hit with them at fucking concerts.
Yeah.
After that.
Okay, right.
Yeah, but yeah, man, the videos are fucking amazing. Right up until like fairly recently, the one in the care home, the old folks home.
Yeah.
They've been doing these amazing videos. So for me, the name always fit.
Yeah, I
sort
think
of personality of the band members. They were all quite relaxed, funny, chill
tonally,
guys.
John, they've always reminded me so much like the way the Beastie Boys were as well.
Yeah.
Like, they were great musicians and produced some great music, but at the same time didn't take themselves serious enough. I don't know whether
They have become more mainstream now. Like the last 10 years, very mainstream.
Yeah, it happens though, doesn't it?
But Steve, the first 3 albums are fucking, for me, right up there with some of the greatest albums ever made. Obviously, the first one, Foo Fighters, was just Dave.
Yeah.
Recording
Is this the one with the
himself.
ray gun?
The sort of ray gun, yeah. It was a demo tape. He did all the parts. It shows you the kind of musician you're dealing with here. And it goes back to what he says about Nirvana.
Yeah.
He was a drummer.
Yep.
And the talent of a man, just hiding there, waiting to come out. By all accounts, Kurt wanted to actually take some of his songs, but he's like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's your band.
Yeah.
So that, getting back to it, man, he's got that life. It's a very full life, personally,
A lot of content there, isn't there?
professionally. There's loads to mine into. Just his fucking personality, the whole fresh pot thing in the early 2000s, when he's addicted to rocket fuel coffee and he's constantly drinking it. If you go onto YouTube and search up Dave Grohl fresh pot, every minute he's shouting fresh pot, wanting another cup of coffee.
Do we know what kind of coffee it was?
We don't, but
No?
it strikes me as much like John Lennon.
Yeah.
Very addictive.
Yeah.
And he chose coffee because it's the lesser of many evils.
Yeah, definitely.
But man, I'm well up for fucking buying this. Obviously, as you says, I went to see them.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure watching him. He'd broke his leg at the
He
time.
was on the throne, wasn't he?
He was sitting on a throne. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I can say I've seen half of Nirvana. It's maybe not the best half, but I've seen half of Nirvana live as well. Pat Smear's fucking amazing. I love Pat Smear, man.
Yeah.
But it's not Kurt Cobain, it's
John,
not
you see
Chris
Pat
Novoselic.
Smear in that acoustic set that you just mentioned, and he was a big part of that.
The sort of American flag.
Yeah, that iconic guitar he used, wasn't it?
Was it a Chile flag? I don't know.
It looked like Chile, but I'm not sure. It might have just been white, red and blue, I'm not sure.
And Pat's the same age as my father and my mother.
Yeah.
Crazy. 63.
Yeah, he's always had that bleach blonde hair, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I don't know if he's still got it, but...
And obviously Dave's a huge Beatles man.
Yeah.
And I always say the you can really measure an individual on the choices they make in life in terms of what they're into musically and in other areas. And if you like the Beatles, that's usually a fucking good sign that you're sound. I always go back to Graham Coxon and the quote, he holds a deep mistrust for anyone that doesn't like the Beatles. And if you don't like the Beatles, don't take that as a personal attack. Just know that I'm fucking judging you, because the Beatles
I'm right and you're wrong.
the Beatles are fucking great.
Yeah. You're all wrong.
Yeah. Dave gave his kids the fucking mono.
Yeah, the box sets. Yeah,
box sets of the Beatles. That's another reason to just love them.
Wish somebody would do that with me, but Dave.
You don't want them now,
Dave,
Stephen.
Could you be my dad?
You don't want them now, Stephen.
Nah,
you're
don't
the man.
need them.
You're the man. I'm buying on his name. I do it all the time. Giles Martin.
John, Rubber Soul will be coming out shortly, I think. Yeah, I think this year.
He's doing the albums right now.
It's good that they're working back way right to the beginning, because we're getting more into sort of Lennon sort of period. I feel,
that neck's getting worse. Wow, I shouldn't have scratched my neck.
Yeah, John, that was nippy.
Yeah, I've scratched the hell out of it.
Yeah, you're going to have to get some ice on that. Maybe put your bottle of water on
Stephen,
there.
Stephen, I says to you, when Revolver came out, that's the drink kicking in. I've only had one. Lightweight, not like I used to be. When Revolver came out, I says, this isn't as good as the remasters from 2009. I'm talking shit. Had Dolby Atmos on. You have to turn up a bit.
Yeah, you put
the mix is much better.
It's phenomenal.
It's much better. Giles knows what he's fucking doing.
Even the outtake stuff's phenomenal, John. But we're going to move on.
Great.